In today's video, we will be talking about that man right there.
Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden! Oh wow!
How has Phil Foden went from PFA Player of the Season in a title-winning Manchester City side to 0 goals and 1 assist in 10 Premier League games this season? Phil Foden has had a disastrous start to this Premier League season, and it really does hurt me to say that because, as you can tell from the room around me, I'm a huge Foden fan. Foden is one of my favourite players. Foden is the star boy of Manchester City. He is Mr. Manchester City, but ever since the start of the Euros, he's been a shell of his former self. And I'm here to look at why. Why has Foden struggled? Because obviously, he was the best player in the Premier League last season. He was voted the best player in the Premier League last season. And he backed that up on many occasions. You look at his hat-trick against Brentford, his hat-trick against Villa, his brace in the Manchester derby, and countless other examples of Foden just being the best player in the league. And that caused a lot of hype to be around him going into the Euros, with him obviously being the best player in the league. And you have him linking up with Bellingham, Saka, Palmer, all coming off of great seasons. And only one of those players did not deliver in the Euros, and that was Phil Foden. Leaving him to be labelled a system player, someone that could only perform in Pep Guardiola's system. But now he's not even doing that. Because we're 10 games he has played this season in the Premier League, and he has 0 goals and 1 assist. He has 3 goals and 2 assists in 17 matches in all competitions. Phil Foden is just not performing very well. But why? Why is Foden not performing well? Some may say burnout. Some may say he's not that good of a football player. But I have a slightly different answer. I have a slightly different take on the situation. I think Foden is not arrogant enough. I don't think he plays with that much arrogance. And you might be thinking, what does that have to do with anything, Nathan? What does that have to do with anything? You're just making excuses at this point. But just follow me. Follow this point, right? So you look at De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is a player that makes things happen. When he gets on the ball, you know things are going to happen. As a defender, you see Kevin De Bruyne pick up the ball and you're like, oh, we could be in trouble here. Why does that happen? Because he takes risks. He drives with the ball. He puts in dangerous crosses. He can shoot from distance. You know, he sees passes that other players don't see. And that is what makes Kevin De Bruyne so dangerous. But Kevin De Bruyne also demands the ball. You watch Kevin De Bruyne and he's like, give me the ball now and I'll make something happen. And people pass to him. Whether that be for Belgium, whether that be for Man City. People pass the ball to Kevin De Bruyne because they know what he's capable of. But also because he demands the ball because he backs his ability. Foden, everybody knows what Foden's capable of. Foden is capable of very similar things to Kevin De Bruyne. He just obviously will not produce at the level of Kevin De Bruyne because Kevin De Bruyne is a freak. Kevin De Bruyne is the best ever. There's only one player in the Premier League that can speak to Kevin De Bruyne on footballing ability and output over the last few years, and that is Mohamed Salah. But Kevin De Bruyne, the GOAT of midfielders for me. Alright, Foden, he can do very similar things. Foden is exceptional at dribbling. He can shoot from distance. You know, he can pick passes. He can pick very good passes. He's got good vision. But what does he not do? He doesn't demand the ball. He doesn't make himself the centre of attention. There are many times where you watch him play for England and you watch him play for City where he's just stood there calling for the ball. He's there pointing, you know, to his feet going, pass the ball to me, pass the ball to me. And he gets aired. They decide not to pass to him because he's asking politely. He's asking for the ball. He's not demanding the ball. He doesn't make himself the centre of attention. If Phil Foden wants to be the man at Manchester City, he needs to make himself the man. He needs to make himself the best player in the team. No one else is going to do that for him. He's not 20 years old anymore. He's not 21 years old. He's 24 years old. He's a senior player. And obviously, we've got De Bruyne coming to the end of his career, unfortunately. He's a player that's finished physically. Footballing wise, he's still the best. He's still the best, Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, you see that performance he put in against Forest. He's exceptional still. But physically, he can't do the running anymore. He can't play full 90s every game. And you need someone to fill in that role. Because Bernardo Silva finished. Gundogan finished as well. All come into the latter stages of their career. But there's one man that can fill that role, and that's Phil Foden. But he needs to believe in himself for him to fill that role. He needs to start demanding the ball. He needs to start backing his ability. You know, you look at Palmer and you look at Saka, they both play with that arrogance. Saka knows that if he's not in the team, there's there's less chance of Arsenal winning that game. And that's why the Arsenal players pass to Saka. And that's why Saka makes things happen. Because he knows he's the difference maker alongside Odegaard, right? So he makes things happen. He gets the ball. And that's why teams double up on Saka. That's why Saka sees so much of the ball. That's why Saka plays so many games. Because he's the difference maker. Because he makes himself the difference maker. Cole Palmer makes himself the difference maker at Chelsea. You know, that's why he's undroppable. Because he makes himself the difference maker. He takes a risk that no one else on the team is going to take. And that's what Foden needs to start doing at City. He needs to stop looking at the players around him, the players he's played with his whole career at City, and stop looking at them and being like, I'm not as good as them. I'm the passenger compared to De Bruyne, compared to Bernardo Silva, you know, compared to Gundogan. And even looking at players he's played with in the past, like David Silva, like Aguero. You know, he needs to stop seeing himself as under those players, because they're either gone or coming to the end of their time at City, and there is a rebuild on the horizon for City. Of obviously, you see the poor performances that we've been putting in recently, and this is his time now to get himself in that team and show Pep Guardiola why he's the one that this new rebuild should be built around him. Phil Foden needs to be at the centre of it, but Pep Guardiola can't put him there. Only Phil can put himself in that position. So when he's fully back from his illness, which I hope is for the Manchester derby on the weekend, he needs to go out there, demand the ball, and make things happen. Make the play go through him. Show everybody why he was voted the PFA Player of the Season. He can put it on his Instagram story all he wants. He can show all his awards on his story all he wants, but talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, and I've said this about many City players this season. I've said it about Walker, I've said it about Diaz, coming out and doing all these motivational speeches in the media just for us to go on and lose the next game. Talk is very, very cheap. They need to go out and back up all of this chat on the pitch, and that's what Foden has to do now. He needs to back up all those trophies, put all of those trophies aside, and show the people why he's going to add to that trophy cabinet. Not what he's won in the past, what he's going to win in the future is what he needs to show people. Because, again, you know, we all know what he's capable of. We've all seen what he's capable of. But he's not showing that now. And I'll cut him some slack because he has a lot of credit in the bank. Same way I'm cutting Pep slack with some of theyese performances because they've built up credit in the bank, you know. But that credit will run out. And he'll have to start proving himself again. And that has to start now. So, you know, leave your comments down below on the Foden situation, what you think. If you think it's burnout, if you think that because the players around him are no longer that good, it's reflecting in his performances, showing that he's not really that good and that he was just carried by an absolute super team that he had around him. Or if you think I've hit the nail on the head and that he needs to start taking responsibility and start becoming the man, because no one else is going to make him the man. Only he can do that himself. But, you know, if you enjoyed this video, please do like the video. Obviously, comment down below your opinions. And obviously, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've seen some exceptional growth as of recent. And I can only, you know, I can't thank you guys enough. So please do keep supporting the channel. You know, let's try to get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. Obviously, we've only got a few weeks left, but I think you guys can do that. Just keep sharing my videos, you know, interacting with the channel and all of that. And we will soon hopefully hit the 1,000 subscriber goal, which I've been, you know, parading for this whole year. But yeah, you know, and obviously if this is the first video of mine you're watching, please do check out the rest of the videos on that channel. It might even further encourage you to subscribe. With all that being said, I have been Nathan and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces, chasing the bad guy chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like G-Take trying to turn them out wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it, body come mad, come shake it, then get back to the basics, bro, don't shut down cases, they belly dots to the